Hello everyone, welcome to another investigation here on MUNDO-XP. I'm Clara Bastos, and today we're diving into an announcement that shook survival horror fans around the world. Resident Evil Requiem, the newest title in Capcom's franchise.
And I'm Rafael Montero. The review happened during the 2025 Summer Game Fest, and it's already being seen as one of the boldest moves in the series. A brand new protagonist, a chilling setting, and deep ties to the classic Raccoon City universe.
The main character is Grace Ashcroft, an FBI agent sent to investigate the Wrenwood Hotel on what seems like a routine assignment, but it quickly spirals into something much bigger. The location is tied to mysterious outbreaks that may be connected to Umbrella.
But what really caught longtime fans' attention was the confirmation that Grace is the daughter of Alyssa Ashcroft, the journalist playable in Resident Evil Outbreak. That makes Requiem something of a spiritual successor to that universe, reviving the mythology of large-scale infections outside urban centers.
Yes, and the game takes place after the events of Raccoon City, which has already been destroyed by a nuclear bomb. Grace is looking for answers, but ends up trapped in a psychological and biological nightmare.
The Wrenwood Hotel is the new iconic horror setting for the franchise. It mixes the luxurious decay of Resident Evil 1 with the disturbing atmosphere of RE7 and the investigative narrative style of the RE2 remake.
The building is massive, abandoned, and filled with blocked-off areas and dimly lit corridors. The sound of creaking wood, flickering lights, and oppressive silence are constant, not just for atmosphere, but as functional horror mechanics.
Players will explore guest rooms, ballrooms, industrial kitchens, and secret underground labs. These areas are linked through puzzles, documents, audio logs, and interactive scenes. Capcom has promised a return to classic survival horror with a focus on exploration, tension, and resource scarcity.
For the first time in the mainline series, players will be able to switch between first-person and third-person views depending on their preferred experience. The transition is handled via the menu, but the game seems to favor first-person during more intense sequences.
In some parts of the trailer, we see Grace using only a lighter and flashlight to navigate. The message is clear. This game wants you to feel vulnerable, surrounded by darkness.
This approach is reminiscent of RE7, but with a more agile protagonist. The limited lighting, ambient noises, and minimal HUD during the demo create total immersion.
And in third person, the camera is tightly placed behind the shoulder, similar to RE2 Remake, which adds to the claustrophobic tension.
In the trailer released by Capcom, we hear almost no dialogue. The story unfolds through visuals, sounds, and subtle clues. Grace arrives at the hotel alone, examines reports, discovers dried blood, hidden bodies, and something watching her.
The most mysterious presence so far is a tall, deformed woman who seems to stalk the protagonist. The community has already nicknamed her the Witch of Wrenwood. Could she be the next stalker, like Mr. X or Lady Dimitrescu?
We don't know yet, but all signs suggest there's an intelligent force behind the events, whether it's genetic manipulation or some kind of ritual. As always, secret documents linked to Umbrella could be the key.
In the next segment, we'll dive deeper into the gameplay, combat, inventory, enemy design, and critical reception from the early demos.
Stick with us here on MUNDO-XP because the investigation into Resident Evil Requiem is just getting started.
Now that we've understood the setting and narrative concept behind Resident Evil Requiem, it's time to dive into what players are truly waiting for: the actual gameplay, the enemies, the inventory system, and the core survival mechanics.
In the demos and trailers, Capcom showcased a new type of enemy. No more basic zombies. This time we have twisted, deformed creatures with unnatural anatomies and aggressive but eerily silent behavior.
One of them crawls along the walls and seems to react to sound, meaning the player must choose between running or staying still in the dark.
Another enemy walks upright in torn human clothes, slowly roaming the hallways. But once it detects Grace, it emits a distorted scream that alerts other enemies nearby, a mechanic reminiscent of the clickers from The Last of Us, yet with its own twist.
Combat in Requiem brings back the series' classic tension. Aiming is slow, Weapons have heavy recoil and ammo is scarce. Even a basic pistol forces tough decisions: shoot or flee.
Besides the starting handgun, players can unlock a sawed-off shotgun, grenades, and even improvised traps. But it all depends on what you find. There are no shops or abundant resources here.
A new addition is the trauma meter, a mechanic that represents the protagonist's psychological stress. The longer Grace stays in darkness or witnesses disturbing events, the worse the effects. Hand tremors, blurred vision, and decreased focus.
It's Capcom's way of simulating panic, blending psychological impact into gameplay. The flashlight, for example, isn't just for visibility, it also reduces trauma, but only if you have enough battery left.
Requiem brings back the classic inventory system. Think RE2 or RE3 Remake, with a grid that players must organize like a minigame.
Puzzles are also a major focus again. You'll encounter safe combinations, electric circuit resets, biometric locks, and doors that require codes found in old documents or cryptic messages hidden in mirrors.
One of the most talked about puzzles involves an old painting in the hotel's ballroom. Players must rotate the eyes of the figures in the painting to reveal a hidden code, a classic Resident Evil style riddle.
Major gaming outlets like IGN and Eurogamer tested closed builds of the game. Initial impressions were extremely positive, highlighting the immersive sound design, enemy creativity, and the faithful return to survival horror roots.
On the other hand, some reports mention technical issues, especially during cutscene transitions and loading times. These are expected to be resolved by the final release.
Fans are thrilled by the psychological horror comeback, but there are growing questions about the lack of classic playable characters. So far, everything centers on Grace.
Capcom hasn't confirmed whether characters like Jill Valentine, Chris Redfield, or Leon Kennedy will appear, but some speculate that this might be a canon entry within a new narrative branch, expanding the universe without replacing the original.
One thing is clear. Resident Evil Requiem isn't here to please everyone. It's here to challenge, disturb, and prove that survival horror can still evolve without losing its essence.
And here at MUNDO-XP, we'll keep investigating every document, every clue, and every shadow hidden in the Wrenwood Hotel.
So hit that bell, subscribe to the channel, and get ready because the most anticipated horror of the year is already upon us.
Next segment.